the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Spot. I have a hard time thinking they won't get the 1 seed then.
Do you like Nathan Robinson at the 4 as the 4th DT going into spring practice, Ryan Schumpert?
Next question.
Vols baseball, Ryan Schumpert, was insane. I love this from T Club over there with Tony Basilio, friend of the show. This was a quote from one of the blogs from this weekend about Gavin Kilen. Second baseman Gavin Kilen was ridiculous, going 9 for 15 with 4 homers. Like, you just see the 9 for 15 and 4 homers, and you just kind of go through like the box scores of the whole weekend, and you're just like, okay, Gavin Keelan's better than Blake Burke in that 2-hole from a year ago. Because I was kind of wondering like which way it was going to go, and I mean, we'll see on the doubles aspect to it.
Feels early to say that still.
Gavin Kilen, man, I was listening to the 11.7 college baseball pod earlier today. And those guys do really good work over there.
They do.
And they were talking about Kilen, and they were like, in Houston, the Astros should just sign Gavin Kilen to play second base so that Altuve can move off it. It's just like $3 million. Like, Gavin's ready to go right now, and it's a better option for what Houston has in 2025. But, I mean, I'm all in on Gavin Kilen, and he's a dog. Like, Gavin Kilen is, he wants the smoke. He is Tennessee ball. Like, we thought that was Fisher, and I think we could still see, I mean, there's all kinds of time for Fisher to turn more into that. But I think people just assume Fisher was like that prototypical middle of the order, like just power, confidence, swagger in the middle of that order coming from Ole Miss. But I think it's more Gavin to this point, where Gavin is like, I don't know. I just was not expecting this level of firepower from Gavin Kilen out of the gate here, and we'll see if it continues through the rest of the year. But Gavin Kilen is a dude, Ryan Schumpert, like absolute dude. And I mean, Dean Curley has been electric at the top of the order too, and they've been awesome as 1-2 for Tennessee. But Gavin Kilen he's ready for the press. Like, Gavin Kilen's a really good, really, really good baseball player, Ryan Schumpert. More than
100%. 100%. I said, before the season, I thought he was going to be really, really good, and just like quietly. And ain't been nothing quiet about what Gavin Keelan's done this season. It has been loud, and it has been in your face. I mean, he would have hit a third home run in his third at bat on Friday night if they were at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. When he hit one, right just shy of the wall, 409 in dead center. Former Minute Maid ballpark. I'm blanking on what they called it now.
We're calling it Minute Maid Park. We're not doing all this. So we're not doing it.
2 points from Jack Foster and I recorded our baseball pod today. 2 points from that one. This feels very much like the name change feels so similar to the Heinz Field name change to Acrisure. Who cares? Why?
Yeah.
I mean, money's the answer. 2, and this kind of leads into your point where you would have told me this point, 11 games in the season, Tennessee's 2 big transfer bats in the lineup. One has 7 home runs, one had 2. I said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Andrew Fisher has 7 home runs, and Gavin Kilen has 2, and it's been flipped. And I think Fisher has been. You talk about him being a force in the middle of the lineup. I still haven't seen much to really discourage me from that. He's walked a ton. I think his at-bats have been really competitive. It's not like he's chasing and lacking success. Probably a little bit more pop-up so far than he would like to have, but I think as a whole his at-bats have been really productive. But yeah, I mean, Keelan's he's been on a different level at this point. I mean, you said 4 home runs this weekend. He had a triple and a double too, so it's pretty remarkable what he's done.
These are good teams. These are, I mean, Arizona was on a hot streak coming into this weekend. Oklahoma State ranked. Like, this was not like they made it look a lot easier than it was. Like, this was an interesting. I mean, this was a test for Tennessee early, and they just made these teams look silly. Like, they just dismantled them. Like, Cannon Peebles hit a ball that went like 700 feet. Like, Cannon Peebles is like at the bottom of the order right now, and you're just like, man, I just, the firepower for Tennessee. And I mean, the story of the weekend too is Levi Clark, man. Like, I know Tennessee fans are just like kind of bummed with what's going on with Ozuna right now, and it sucks. And we'll see what ultimately happens there. It's looking less optimistic by the day, but when you have a freshman class like this and you have a guy like Levi Clark who is mashing, and I think my prediction here, Ryan Schumpert, As a righty, I think Levi Clark moves into the 3-hole as the everyday 3 guy for Tennessee come conference play. I think you flip him and Hunter, and you move Hunter to 5, and you put Levi Clark at that 3-hole coming to conference play. It's a lot of pressure to put on a freshman, but he's not a normal freshman. Levi Clark is unbelievable. I was looking at different stats for him. He leads the Vols in RBIs with 2 outs at 10. He leads the team in doubles. Levi Clark is just a hitter. He is a professional hitter as an 18, 19-year-old kid. Like what we talk about Gavin, years older, Gavin's awesome out of the portal. But in terms of the freshman class, like Levi Clark at the plate is just otherworldly. Like he's just bombs at the plate. Like Levi Clark at the plate is just fantastic stuff. It's cinema.
It is. I mean, you talk about Tennessee's weight program is so good, but you talk about this guy being a true freshman and being, what a big, strong guy he is. It's just, it's pretty unbelievable. Holler back at me like South Carolina series. I don't think you're going to start SEC. I don't think you're going to put that target on his back to start SEC play, which isn't to say that I don't think he can handle it as a freshman. I just don't think you do that to start SEC play.
But you're at the point now where he's going to be in the lineup every weekend, like every game. Like I think he has to start every weekend game now, right? Like that's settled.
Well, that's what it was. Everything was the same all 3 games this weekend. Besides,
I'm just saying, like going forward, like even conference play, like Tony has to settle. It just feels like Levi's forced his hand.
That's what I'm saying. Tony tipped his hand this weekend and told us what the lineup is that they trust. He started the same lineup all 3 games in the first meaningful games of the year. Besides, like I said, Stone got 1 start in there. And as the Osuna thing, like you said, does continues to trend in the wrong direction. That was the thing that would really throw a wrench into it. And so it's pretty clear to 9 he trusts the most right now, and Levi Clark's in that mix and is going to be in there. And certainly would not surprise me at all if long term he does end up in that 3 spot and then Hunter ends goes at 5.
So what do you think? Does Osuna, based on what you heard, what's reported today, I know you're still at LMU finishing up your law degree, but what does this mean for Osuna? Do you think, based on people you talked to and everything else, like which way do you think this is leaning now at this point?
Yeah, I haven't heard a ton since a couple hours ago when things broke. I'm pessimistic about it. I'll just say that. Like the court ruled. I think they can apply for another decision, as typically is the case, but I have a hard time thinking it's going to get overturned. Goldstein got the same thing at Georgia last week, and the NCAA is fighting tooth and nail to not have these guys be eligible in court. And so while the NCAA can still make them eligible, I have a hard time the way they're fighting, thinking that that's going to happen. So we'll see. But at this point, I'm not overly confident. But that's not a ton off of inside information. And as you said, not my UT college communications degree is not quite LMU law.
It's what happens though? Does he stay with the team, or does it like if he? Does he just travel with the team all year? Like that's got to be kind of awkward. That's got to be weird. If he's not eligible, does he? How does that work? Because he's been with the team, right?
Yeah. It sucks for him. I think obviously I think it'd be up to him. I imagine Tennessee would be happy to have him travel with the team and be as big a part of the team as he wants to be. But obviously you just got to feel for him. That's Tennessee's going to be fine. I don't think it's going to kill Tennessee, but it's hard not to feel bad for Alberto Osuna, who obviously is a D2 spot, but he left a good program where he was going to play, he was going to start, he was going to compete for a Division II national championship. I believe Tampa's won each of the last 2 years. I know for sure they won last year. It's hard not to really feel for him.
That's fair. We also saw, to put a bow on it here this weekend, Ryan Schumpert, Tegan Kuhns debuted for Tennessee. Him and Arvidsson, like that's something that's still very much up in the air on Sundays. Nate Snead, 0.57 ERA with a bunch of innings to this point. Nate Snead's been really good, but I think he's kind of settling into that multi-weekend long relief guy, which I think is the best case scenario for Tennessee. I still maintain being able to use Snead multiple times over the weekend rather than just giving him the Sunday start. I think there's more value there for the Vols. But Arvidsson and Kuhns, I think might be the battle on Sunday, and they both pitch in this game, and both pretty successful for Tennessee. 2 innings, 3 Ks for Coons in that game, but it's pretty interesting that all 3 pitched in that outing, because I think all 3 have been vying for that Sunday spot. But what did you make of the Coons debut?
Well, we buried the lead. Tennessee's pitching staff, to me, was the story of the weekend. I mean, they dominated, and you talk about Arizona, Oklahoma State being good, and I think you were a little dramatic with your terminology. They didn't beat them 12-1 or anything. I mean, they won relatively handedly, but pretty good games. It was 2-1 in the 7th inning on Sunday against Arizona.
When have I been hyperbolic on this show? Show me a time that I've ever been hyperbolic on even this episode alone, Ryan Schumpert.
But, however, Oklahoma State and Arizona are really good programs, and they are known for raking and hitting. And Tennessee's Tennessee's pitching staff did shut them down, both of them down in those 2 games. And I thought Oklahoma State had really competitive at bats throughout that game. It wasn't like it's like, oh, these guys aren't very good this year. This is what a terrible approach. They made Tennessee work and made Liam Doyle and Tanner Franklin work. But no, Coons looked really good. He looked really good on Tuesday.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.